And we are live.
Hola Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. If you guys are new here, don't forget to smash the likes and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 4K. Big up our sponsors as always. Talksport, as you all know, the biggest sports radio station in the world. Everything on LBR is officially powered by the Talksport Fan Network. So go show them some love. Also, go check out Fanatics, official partners of La Liga and Real Madrid. Make sure you use our affiliated link in the description below so that, they know you guys came through us. Right then, aware the Mendizorrotza, it's never easy. Over the years, we have learned it the hard way. Off the top of my head, last minute winner from Vasquez. The guy who you would least expect to be on the end of a corner. Traveling away to Alaves has been always tricky, and even more so now. With the vein of form we were in and the kind of fixtures that preceded tonight's trip to Victoria. But um, I saw some fight. I saw some desire to win. I saw you know uh, some motivation to actually keep the manager in the job, which is nice. But then again, expecting anything drastically different from City and from the weeks that we have seen is a tall order. But I do think this is in a way a reaction. I just hoped it was a bit more convincing. There were a few half chances which we should have absolutely buried. If the Gonzalo chance, if he doesn't go for the complicated outside of the foot Trivela pass to Mbappe, probably it's 3-1. The Jude Bellingham chance at the end. Um, we should have been a bit more clinical, but can't complain when you have a record of winning just 2 in 8 games. But I guess this is a much needed respite, a much needed you know a sigh of relief, not just for the players but for Xabi Alonso as a manager. His reaction on the touchline speaks volumes. At the same time, it screams someone who is incredibly frustrated, incredibly tense about his future, uncertain. But yeah, man. Hopefully, onwards and upwards. Take up the panel. As always, Sahil and Javier. Javier, after a long time, talk to me, bro. Last year, it was Carlo, facing the music. This time around it's Xabi Alonso. A season that started with so much promise. We were leading the league by 5 points after the Clasico, and it was a huge swing after that. What have you made of the last couple of weeks? And is this the sort of reaction you expected?
First of all, hello to everyone. Nice to be here. Like it's been a minute. Yeah, I think that my recollection it's easy. Like I texted you earlier. This is a
Yeah,
game defining match or season defining match, right? It shouldn't be, but
mm,
it is. So
yeah,
and also like you, I saw sparkles. Like the spark that maybe ignites the flame.
mm,
it's it's a hard place to be. Like mm, Mendizorrotza is very hard. It's cold. Like this small stadium, they freaking hate us. Like most of the stadiums in the world, right? But I don't know. Like you said, it's small. This is the game of small details. You never know
mm-hmm.
which place is the one that gonna change the game, right?
Yeah,
We played if you ask me, we played very solid first 45 minutes. Like very solid. I think nothing in at the end of the even if the save with the face of Courtois, I think it's the first
mm-hmm.
like real slightly worried. Like then
Yeah,
Mbappe plays some good ball, Vini shows something. Arda pressing, and I feel like okay, I feel confident. And when I text you the lineup, I say okay, this is what I should expect from Xabi Alonso today, right? Because
mm-hmm.
we need to focus on today. Like you said,
Yeah,
I love the game at Bilbao, right? Like everyone. But then we lose Militao and we lose strength. So Up next, we play awful against Celta. Plus, the referees make their usual work. Then
Mm-hmm.
against City, it's just like the same game as today. It's virtually the same game, but the
Yeah.
main difference is they have Haaland, they have these big names. If you commit a single mistake, they're gonna capitalize on you. And
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me, it's virtually the same game and the same result, just backwards, right? So
Yeah.
now, if you ask me, yeah, I still trust and I barely contain myself of the joy that this game provides to me. Like every
Mm-hmm.
single, uh, like you said, okay, Gonzalo tries to do something that he shouldn't. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But then he
Yeah.
goes to recover that ball. Like he sacrificed himself. Then
Mm-hmm.
you watch Beanie, and it's a clear penalty, like clear as a fucking
Yeah.
day. And then the assistant to the assist to Rodrigo, great assistant, great goal from Rodrigo from I don't know a gazillion years in La Liga, more than a
Yeah.
year I think so. So yeah, if you ask me, I still and I that's the reason I put that. Don't a single game don't fucking matter unless you win the season. So
Mm-hmm.
we need this, right? I still believe in Xavi's project, right? But I still believe in Real Madrid because like it's crucial to me to fans all around to understand that the only one that can push a manager away is the owner or the president. No player, no matter which one, should be
Mm-hmm.
allowed to influence a team like that. And I
Yeah.
and I saw this like I trust in Xavi, I trust in the players. But we have to win next game and the next one and the next one to keep this momentum.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. See, that's some much needed positivity. I've been pretty pessimistic regarding the season because I have to sit
Because the
here
season
and
is
break
mean
down.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to
It's not
sit here
right.
and break down shit results, shit performances, players really showing no fight. That wasn't the case today, but yeah, talking about the referee, Ricardo Bogus Bengochea apparently was the one in the VAR room, and yeah, it might have been a bit soft, but that's all it takes in today's age to be awarded a pen. I have no idea why they didn't give it. It just adds to the frustration, and when
And not only
we
that,
need, yeah, yeah,
sorry to interrupt. Not only that, the bar is awful because
mm,
two separate players, like one from Arda and one from Asensio, they're like clearly not a handle, but clearly as fucking day. And they go to the
mm,
VR. They
yeah,
onto us just to
yeah,
the slightly you know, change.
yeah,
The Jude
mm,
Bellingham, oh, it's allowed because he touches the ball with the hand, like
mm-hmm.
barely, if so. I know that when they touch the ball with the attacker, it's almost guaranteed to be.
In the Jude situation, I think it bounced off his body onto his arm.
On Tozam, yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's it's done. It's done. It's not the football that we should be. I don't know.
Yeah, VR has a clear agenda. I mean, it should be expected because we put so much pressure on the refereeing committee in Spain. So they would look to make it
They put
difficult
it
for
on
us. And
themselves. They put it on
oh yeah,
themselves.
for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. We just voice it out, which I'm
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
huge fan of. Obviously, we should be voicing out bad decisions, but yeah, we do it. So we have to sometimes take the heat.
yeah.
But yeah, over to you, Sahil, man. Talk to me, bro. Rodrigo Vinicius, the combination that we have been missing for, God knows how long. Javier was right. It's been almost a year since Rodrigo scored in the league. I think the last time he scored in the league was January, so it's been quite a long time coming. Um, Jude Bellingham puts in a impressive shift. Arda Güler. There was a point in time the midfield couldn't string two passes together. I think it was around the 55th or 60th minute. It was crazy, but apart from that, they had to dig in deep, which I really really appreciated. The team as a whole, Rodrigo at times, marking fucking attackers inside our own box. Um, how do you look upon this collective fight that we showed tonight?
No, you're right. We've seen the worst and the best of Real Madrid today. Like there was as you mentioned, periods in the game where we were struggling to even string together a few passes. Um, and that was the case, for more than a few minutes. So it's not as if it was smooth sailing all through.
Mhm.
And it certainly wasn't, because in the first, I think, 15, 20 minutes, we had 80% possession. And by the end of
Yeah.
the game, Alaves have marginally more possession than us. So that really goes to show how much of how much of the game they had regained under their control in that second half as well. Um, but a superb defensive performance from our boys. I feel like Bellingham put in a solid shift. The new kid Victor Valdepeñas, he was exceptional defensively. I'm not sure if we saw some of his best attacking play, going forward.
Mhm.
I'm not even sure if that's part of what he has to offer to this team.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, you mentioned Vinicius and Rodrigo. Vinicius, even when he's in, the worst form of his life, he doesn't play like someone who is struggling, for form. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing, but it definitely makes his highlights look very, very um, flashy and flamboyant. Because if you saw that assist, if you saw the way he collected the ball with his head and ran onto it,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have purely of that reel, you wouldn't have told that this is a guy who's in some of the worst form of his career.
Hmm.
And Rodrigo, we all know Rodrigo, right? He's the other extremity. He's the one who hasn't been playing, and like, he hasn't been given his opportunities. He's the exact opposite of what Vinicius, of what we have figured Vinicius out to be this season. So we're all happy for both Vinicius and Rodrigo to have gotten, their marks on the score sheet. Well, Vinicius with an assist. I would have hoped for Vinicius to actually get an away goal, because um,
Yeah.
this unsettling record of his, that he hasn't. There's only two teams that he is. There's only two games where he scored away goals in the past year in La Liga, which is really weird. It's not surprising to me, because um, Vinicius does struggle when he's not playing under the lights of the Bernabeu.
Hmm.
But also, for a player of Vinny's caliber and standards, he's got to, pull up his socks and get his scoring boots on. But even apart from that, like, from the rest of the team, I felt Valverde put in a solid shift. Chouameni was regularly on the, you know, on the shoulders of the defenders, and on the shoulders of the midfielders, who look to run past and make triangles through the midfield. So it wasn't smooth sailing, certainly. And we weren't expecting it to be, like I said, right? It was a
Yeah.
game in which the most paramount thing was the 3 points, and for us to get some breathing room with regards to Xabi Alonso's situation. And I think we achieved that without losing any players to injury. I just think now we have to build on that, and in the coming games, I hope we feel and look more comfortable as a unit playing football. So I'm sure that I'm sure stylistically the changes will come as the points roll on, and as our lead to Football
Yeah.
Club Barcelona diminishes. But for now,
Mhm.
it's very much neck and neck, and we have to play, take and see every next game at face value.
100%. Yeah, 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 yeah. Because it's all well and good, putting up this sort of a performance, although not the best, but a drastic improvement from what we have seen in the past couple of months or so. But coming to you, Javier, right? This game could have gone either way. Because if Carlos Vicente actually, takes his chance. Was it Carlos Vicente or was it his pass? I can't remember. But immediately after they scored the equalizer, they had a
Yeah.
pretty open big chance, which they should,
I think it's the
rightfully
same
put
guy
away.
that scores. Yeah, yeah, it's Carlos something like.
Yeah, Carlos Vicente.
Uh, yeah, he was
It-
touched slightly by Asensio, and I was like, oh, this referee is gonna call on us like this. Like that slightly touch from Asensio is the kind of bullshit that they usually uh,
Award pens, yeah,
rule
yeah,
against
yeah,
us. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. but you saw how it was, right? Like it was convincing in terms of the body language of the players. They wanted to
Yeah.
really bounce back, but there were moments where it's almost like we look aimless. Like the first half. You mentioned that we were excellent. For me, it was again more of the same,
It's
where
not.
players are doing
Yeah,
what
yeah,
they are doing individually, not as a collective. You know what I mean? And Vinicius, for
yeah.
me, was one of the major problems in the first half, where I thought, this guy, yeah, didn't have any sort of confidence to even take a man on. Uh, do the bare minimum in the final third. Even like he just looked absolutely lost. Talk to me about his overall season so far. He started off with a bang. I think 10 or 15 goal contributions overall, and then yeah, it completely deflated in the past 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, like I said, same with Vinicius. I saw glimpses today of what he can become. But
Hmm.
if I can speak to him, like if I was his friend or whatever, I said
Yeah.
to him, okay, you're probably a bigger legend than Xabi Alonso in terms of Real Madrid, like history,
Mm.
in terms of
Hmm.
titles. I was thinking about
Yeah.
this couple of weeks, and then I realized, okay, but that wasn't the goal of Vini. They told me that he was aiming to be better than Cristiano. So
Mm.
ask yourself, Vini, are you
Yeah.
better than Cristiano? The fucking obvious answer is no. So
Yeah.
then you have to perform like the best in the world every single game, like he did. And he was,
Mm.
like in some huge fights with Florentino in terms of contract extensions or whatnot. It's
Yeah.
boring politics that involves football.
Mm.
But what made Cristiano Cristiano, and sorry, Vini, if you don't understand this, you're never gonna be uh, nowhere near him,
Hmm.
is the fact that okay, he made relationships, he did declarations, whatnot, you whatever, but in the field, m-
Yeah.
most games of the time, La Liga, Copa, away, home, no matter fucking what, he was the best player on that team.
Mm.
But because he works most than everyone else in that team. And he
Yeah.
believes
Yeah.
in every single coach that he
Mm.
was receiving information from. Like
Mm.
imagine that Cristiano said to Alex Ferguson or Zinedine Zidane or like whoever, oh, I know you are full of bullshit, and
Yeah.
and probably you know he's more important player than especially like close to be with Zidane, but because they win together,
Mm.
Zidane made a Cristiano what Cristiano become, right? So if you ask me, Bini need to understand it. If you want to be the best, you have to perform every single game at every single play. So you need to focus. This game was a very solid game, if you ask me, because once again, I feel the connection with the coach, right? This play
Yeah.
doesn't go well. Okay, I'm to the next one. If I have to defend, I defend. If I have to attack, I have to create. If the referee make the bullshit, okay. And then, it was Xabi Alonso took him at the exact same time that like he made everything that he was gonna do at that game, and like I need you out. We won the game because of you, because of that assist, because Barbini. So chill the fuck out these next 5 minutes, and Franco made very solid 5 minutes. So I know that we're struggling, and we
Hmm.
shouldn't. But once again, if we are celebrating on May, I I for sure gonna remember this game. If we lose on the next one, this game means nothing.
Mm.
That's football.
Exactly. No, yeah,
This
Vinny.
go
Sorry,
on, sir.
Vinny. I just feel like like I mentioned this earlier, right? Like he,
Mm.
regardless of the form he is in, he plays with a certain uh, casual persona or attitude to his game that doesn't sit right with me sometimes. But also like that one play that where it comes off for Rodrigo, it looks absolutely remarkable, right? Um, but there's confidence to go and say, I'm gonna play like a billionaire with $10 in my pocket. It's something only Vinny has in the squad,
Mm.
and it absolutely pays off when he is the best player in the world, which unfortunately he isn't right now. And as
Mm.
Javier, rightly pointed out, he needs to understand that there have been bigger players than him with more humility than him, who have worked with managers they don't, you know, always fundamentally agree with, but they've
Mm.
have, developed working relationships with all the managers of the past. Uh, Regardless of their stature or what they have done for the club, right? So I think Vinny does need a little bit of humility in that sense. I just um, wish that that brings about more efficiency and more work ethic of what we are seeing on the pitch, because now it's as if we need to see at least 6 or 7. I agree with you, Javier. He's headed in the right direction, right? But if we need to see him miss 5 or 6 opportunities and then score, like, finish off the seventh one, or, make the next one right, we're not going to see him get that many opportunities every game, especially not against the top opposition. Maybe in a game like this, maybe in a game like Valencia, yes, right? And absolutely, he has the caliber to go and then get that consistency. Once he does hit form like he did earlier in the season, he will be the best player in the world again. There is no doubt about that. It's just it has to be something in his head, and humility is a big part of that, as Javier said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head. What we saw, especially towards the end of the game, where he, probably and definitely, in my opinion, should have won the pen. Um, is his desire to actually, put in the work when the team needs it. It hasn't been always on display. It hasn't been always so black and white with Vinny. You know, towards the the last month and especially this month. But when he turns it on, it's almost like nobody can stop him. And the Alaves defense was having a field day with him in the first half. But then when he actually rolled up his sleeves and started going at them, you just saw what this man can do. He is the best in the world when it comes to taking on players and really really causing havoc out on the flanks. Him drifting inside, I'm not a huge fan of, because it completely diminishes. It was all right in our system under Carlo when we won the 14th. In this current setup, it completely nullifies what Vinicius is good at, centrally. So he should be out on the flanks, and he should just, yeah, like you guys said, keep his head down and work towards getting back to his very best, because turn of the year, and he is somewhere closer to what Vinny was a couple of years ago, and we will be winning big games and winning them comfortably. And there'll be again so much for the opposition to actually be afraid of, and it'll only give the other ball playing midfielders that we have, like the likes of Arda Güler and Jude Bellingham, much more freedom. When Vinicius is out of the equation, it really really hampers not just Vinicius, but the entire supporting cast as well. Over to you,
And
Javier.
also,
Go
sorry,
on, go
just
on,
to
sir.
say about
Mm.
sorry, Javier, I just had to mention with Vinny about the penalty incident. Like, he says, and he said this during the game, and Xabi reiterated the same during the press conference, that the penalty wasn't given purely because it was Vinicius, and I don't
Mm.
disagree with that, because
Yep.
there was clear contact for the player to go down, and then Vinny sells it. Right, Vinny overdoes it a little bit, and
Mhm.
that just pushes the referee a slight bit, and he hesitates, and he doesn't end up giving the penalty, because I don't think he doubts in
Yep.
his mind that there was contact. It's just because it's Vinny, and you can't. It's true, but you can't complain about that kind of thing, because it is the image that you have created in the minds of the referee, that you are a brat and you're going to try and win every inch possible on a situation which could be a 50-50. So there's this referee in that case is more inclined to give the decision against you if you have known to be in the past a little bit of a brat, if I might say. But yeah.
Yeah, but
I'll have to
that's the problem, you know. That's clearly the problem, because I was thinking, okay, right, I when every single kid in the world, you know, like plays a football game, that they need to, we all that we play, we need to understand that the game is 90 minutes plus whatever, right? So that call, like you said, okay, because it's Vini, they don't rule it because it's Vini, right? And then because it's Real Madrid, and then the context, and you need to understand, the referees need to understand that the motherfucking job is to judge that game in particular, to forget about everything else.
Yeah.
You know, that's the main reason that a judge is a judge. You know, if I'm a serial killer, right? I'm a serial killer, and then I was judged for my newest victim, and they say, oh, because it's him, oh, he clearly kills that guy. And even if I say like, okay, I killed before, right? I don't know if I should say this on YouTube. I'm obviously making a fucking joke, right? So then, without proofs, even if I
Yeah.
show to my, you know, to the police, okay, I was at my home watching a video with Sonnet. I was in a Zoom conference. I cannot commit that crime. Oh, because but you are Jew. So no. So sorry, I agree with you, right? But I don't agree with the system, because the system is broken.
Yeah, system is broken. Also,
Absolutely,
one more thing I'll say is that what else can Vinny do? Because if you feel contact and you don't go down, people are going to question, why did you go down? Because this is the era we live in, right?
That's right. And
Unless
then
you
sorry, Sunet. I
go
watch
on.
the games without you know, like the commentators, and
Mm.
only with the, you know, like the audio from the stadium. I love
Oh,
that.
okay.
So
Nice. Yeah.
so I was watching, and I heard what the referee said to Jude, right? Because
Mm.
he didn't cover his mouth. He
Mm.
literally says he touches, but it's not enough, right?
Mm.
It's
Mhm.
nothing that I don't see him. It's I saw the touch, but it isn't enough. So
Mm.
my God, it's even
Yeah.
worse. But
Yeah.
um, but then the whole stadium was asking for the red to Vinicius,
Mm.
right? Because
Mhm.
if it's not a penalty and you go
Yeah.
down, it's a
Yeah.
dive.
It's the second yellow.
So
Yeah.
you know, that's the thin line between, oh my God, we were robbed, and
Mhm.
oh my fucking God, this is Negrera once again. So
Mhm.
sorry, the one call that he committed a big mistake was that.
Mhm.
But well, what happened if they score in the last minute, right? What
Yeah.
happened if they actually send the red card to Vini and then
Mhm.
score? You know, like I understand we don't play our best today, but
Mhm.
our best should be enough to win the world champions. You know, like the Champions League and La Liga, but we cannot win every single title, every single game. So we need to
Yeah.
play one game at a time. And this game, if you ask me, the ones that should be in the press conference should be. I I, I saw a lot. I want to speak with you and on the panel about the connection between Tchouaméni and Xabi Alonso. It seems like he's creating, uh, you know, like his role onto Tchouaméni. What Xabi
Mm.
Alonso used to meant to
Yeah.
Real Madrid, and I freaking love that. You know.
Absolutely. I mean, Tchouaméni, even under Carlo Ancelotti, we could see the rise of, slow but steady rise. At times, people would question his distribution. People would question, his work rate, especially, going back
His
to his own
ethics,
goal.
work ethic. You
Yeah.
know, it was
Yeah.
as simple as that. You will all know that when the exact moment when Tchouaméni
Mm.
changes, it
Mm.
was, you know, whistle out at the Bernabeu. I don't
Oh,
even
yeah.
remember the game,
Was it against
and
Milan? Was it against Milan?
I I don't I don't recall, but
Maybe
you know,
right after Milan, but around that period for sure.
but 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 that's the example of what
Mm.
context means, you know, because
Mm.
I'm sure to you that we maybe speak about it after that game. I probably text on the group, Tchouaméni needs to be out, or even so, like he needs to be sold. Not a single
Mm,
more minute. I remember,
mm,
I think I sent that text, right? But he changed one game at a time. I don't
yeah.
fucking care what Rodrigo did in the past 2 years.
Mm,
Last two games were beautiful. So,
mm,
okay, Rodrigo, show up. If Vini
yeah.
plays like this every single game until June,
Mm,
and then he continues to do so, he will win the fucking Champions League, La Liga, and maybe the World Cup with Brazil. Be the best player in the world and won that renewal. Who knows? Who
yeah.
knows? But
Yeah.
but they need to understand that every single game counts, because once again,
Mm,
that's when you create synergy. That's when you create momentum. So please, for the love of God, this team needs to catch a momentum, because I saw the talent. I trust the manager, and I still trust in Florentino.
100%. I mean, when you actually deep it, right? Rodrigo and Vinicius, they have been under so much scrutiny. These Brazilians don't really bring in the samba flair. They're just taking up space, not really contributing much. Completely looking like they don't belong in a Madrid shirt. That's been bothering me so much, because
Do you,
I love the um
bro?
Seleção.
Do you
Go on, Simon.
recall?
Mm,
So sorry, I just wanna ask a question. Do you
mm.
guys remember the last time that Vini, Mbappe, Jude, and Rodrigo played together? Because I truly don't remember it.
Yeah, very. It's once in a blue moon. I don't
Probably,
think they have
I
under
think it's
Xabi Alonso, right?
probably Supercopa, right? Against Barca, something
Yeah,
like that. Something
yeah,
crazy
probably,
in times.
probably. Yeah, yeah.
That
Long
was
Only
the
time
for
ago.
last
years
time
Long
though.
time
before
ago.
today, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
That's the last
long
game,
time
right?
ago.
Yeah, before today it was because Rodrigo
Last
again
game,
hasn't been
Mbappe wasn't.
starting. Yeah, Mbappe wasn't there, and Rodrigo hasn't he's been warming the bench for a while now. So um, I
Yeah.
don't know when
So,
it was
you
available.
know, they're supposed to be the four great main characters in the attack.
Mm,
So be the four main
yeah,
characters, right?
yeah, yeah.
If you want to bench Arda, if you are Jude and you want to be, like that role, okay,
Hmm.
play better than him. And then the coach needs to decide, right? Be
Yeah.
better, and then the coach will decide. And for me, and if you like me to segue, I don't understand the first substitution,
Hmm.
but then I saw a great correction from Xavi, right? Like right away.
But Javier, if that sort of meritocracy actually, was implemented at Real Madrid to that extent, Vinicius would have been dropped long ago, right? And Rodrigo would have been playing. Players like Gonzalo Garcia would have been playing after the Club World Cup.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, when we actually look at Xabi Alonso's decision making in terms of his lineup selection and some of his substitutions, it's clear, right? The influence from the board is there, but like Javier said, if this is your fantastic four, right, this is supposed to be your marquee players, putting them all together, you know, sometimes begs the question, right? Are you choosing? Um, are you going all out for firepower instead of balance? And in games like this, provided it's Alaves, let's be honest with ourselves, right? Yes, it's a good performance. Alaves is one of the worst attacking sides in the league, right? They're pretty good defensively, but going forward, they're a haphazard mess. They can't really compete with the best sides in La Liga in terms of scoring goals and creating clear-cut chances. That's why we could have probably gotten away with it. But when it comes to the big games, I'm pretty sure Xabi Alonso's hand and the general balance of the lineup will look very different because um, Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo, Vinicius, and Mbappe all together, it works only because Jude Bellingham is a workhorse, right? Even if it was against Alaves, is Jude Bellingham sprinting all the way back from the edge of the opposition box to his own box to actually make
Make a
decisive
challenge, yeah.
interventions. It only works
And
because of
also
that.
because the other three don't play in a static position, right?
Mhm.
You saw Bini on the right at some point,
Mbappe on the
Rodrigo
right
on the
as
left.
well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that Bini as attacker, as a center forward. Then I think we all saw that Mbappe is not 100% fit. We
Hmm.
can all agree that Mbappe is not a problem at this moment. Like
Hmm.
he's not a playmaker anymore. He's not he's a goal scorer. And my God, he's very good at goal scoring. Don't get me wrong. He can still make plays, but in terms of dribbling and whatnot, he's not Bini and probably will never be again. But in terms of goal scoring, he's closer to Ronaldo than everyone in the entire Real Madrid history. So he's covered on that regard, like he doesn't fucking care. So now what lacks of Ancelotti was, like I I don't think only, like between Carleto, I'm the only manager on the way opposite side of what Carleto is in terms of uh, relationship with the players and the training ground should
Yeah.
be Pep Guardiola, right? But
Hmm.
but Xabi Alonso, don't get me wrong, he's closer to Mourinho on Pep and whatnot in terms of obsession with. I know that if we play my system, the
Yeah.
system will work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
players like you said, Bini, that it's all creativity,
Hmm.
all they fucking hate when a manager goes to say like, you need to work
But
your
Javier,
ass
the thing
off.
is, I fear for this obsession. I know it's a good thing when Xabi Alonso, a budding manager, has such passion for the finer details. But as you saw, probably for like 70%, 65% of this game away the Alaves is that we have so much possession and we look absolutely clueless in it. I said this against City. Our players and our best players, they thrive in transition. When we are passing the
Right.
ball around, we don't look like we are creating anything. And if a team, Alaves, again, were they really that brilliant defensively tonight? I don't think so. If we
No,
come
no,
up
no.
against a side like Celta, they are not also like Getafe or the other haram ball teams in La Liga. But if a team is hell bent on keeping us out, they can keep this side out. That's my biggest
Yeah.
issue. With Xabi Alonso and these players. But Sahil, what do you think about all of this, man? Like
I
we, we
just,
we we see progress, but I'm pretty sure this version of Madrid is clearly not good enough.
yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that because I don't have any, um, you know, counterpoints to that because
Mm,
every time we've actually seen this team come up against half decent defense that actually has its shit sorted and covered and has
yeah,
a half organized defensive shape and is capable of winning second balls in midfield and tracking runners and defending set pieces. We have seen it crumble, and even with the likes of Arda Güler and Jude Bellingham, who are supposedly the best midfielders in the world, who would should ideally be capable of unlocking any deep block or even a mid block. We've seen this team crumble and suffer, but that's besides the point on a day like this, where
mm.
I just feel like today's game out of all, I wouldn't be sitting here, nitpicking and over analyzing why.
No, I'm not. I was just countering Javier's overall
Mm.
point, but
No,
yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I get that, and you make a fair point as well, and that's the overall picture, right? That's the big picture. And it doesn't change with a game like this. Also, like you have
Mm,
to remember that even if
yeah,
we won 5-0 today, I don't
mm,
think anybody would sit here and deny the
yeah,
fundamental flaws that Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid have had for whatever
mm,
reasons they have come about. That this team just isn't good enough in open play and isn't efficient or clinical enough in terms of getting the ball to its attackers uh, as regularly as it should. Maybe
mm,
because we don't collect the ball in transition enough times as we used to, and we concede from set pieces way too much. These are technical flaws that I'm sure Xabi Alonso has had the initiative to work on these things in on the training ground and on the
mm.
like behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
there's just clearly not been enough progress in terms of the output and what we have as Real Madrid fans seen both home and away in
Mm.
games this season, because uh, it isn't just the results, it isn't just the end product as much as we are a club defined by its results and by its trophies. Uh,
Mm.
I'm sure we wouldn't have sat here and called this a crisis had it just been simply 4 losses. Because you have to remember that we haven't lost what, more than 4 games this season. So
Mm.
if it had just been a matter of 4 losses out of what 2021 games this season, then we wouldn't have sat here and called for Xabi Alonso's head, or even considered that argument worth discussing. But we are, and that points to the simple fact that there are core fundamental issues that go beyond um, the final result on the scoreboard.
Mm. I mean, it's nice to see the players actually. It's almost like it got to a point where yes, Xabi Alonso is at fault. Yes, his decision making, especially his in-game management, is a bit lacking. We all could agree to that. But the other section of the divide, you know their shouts started getting a bit too loud for the players, because at some point I'm pretty sure these guys would have been looking at the stands, looking at what people are talking online and going, oh yeah, the heat is on us right now. So if we don't actually fix up, and if we don't actually show a public hand of affection, public hand of responsibility, especially towards Xabi Alonso, we are going to be held responsible, and people are going to really, put headlines up where, it's the players, it's the guys like Vinicius, Rodrigo, who actually, sacked Xabi Alonso, who is supposed to be the next big thing in management. Um, so yeah, I agree with that as well. When Javier says, some of these players, they don't really want that much detail. They don't really enjoy being fed that much data to process and
Yeah.
carry
But
out
Smith,
from game to game. Go on,
but
Javier.
bro, once again, it's a matter of context. As you guys were talking, I was thinking, okay,
Mm, mm,
we can all agree that Real Madrid lacks in attack when we face a Park the Boss team, right? That's the
yeah,
main problem with Xabi Alonso. Okay, Xabi,
I do
you
think it's a profile
for
problem more than Xabi Alonso,
Because
Javier.
it
If you
was
see,
right,
probably
if
right,
you see,
under Ancelotti as well.
yeah,
yeah,
right, but
because if you see the Rodrigo goal, Mbappe is in the edge of the box. He's not even
yeah,
moving.
but hear me on this. They Carleto managed Real Madrid for 1,000 years, so
Mm,
he was. If you don't know how to attack on that, it's on you,
yeah,
probably. On
yeah.
maybe that's the reason he was sent up, because the players don't understand him anymore, right? But
Mm,
Xabi Alonso is not used to be in a team that every other single team plays in the Park the Boss system, right?
oh yeah,
When you
yeah,
are at
yeah.
Real Madrid, almost every single fucking team in the world we're gonna be playing defensively, right?
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
80%, I saw it too. 80% possession meant nothing when
Hmm.
you are scoreless, right?
Yeah.
So what Real Madrid needs to understand, for lack of a better manager, because I'm not a manager, give the fucking ball to them, let them
Hmm.
attack you, and then counter attack.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's way different when that's your strategy, and
Hmm.
when it's the opposite side
Hmm.
attacking you in terms, I don't have a response on this, right? So
Hmm.
they play. They need to understand the difference between I want to attack me, like boxers, right? The
Yeah.
the defensive boxers, they are
Mm-hmm.
not defensive ones.
Mm-hmm.
They receive, and
They,
they
they
base
they
it
they throw the
with
counter
clothes
jab. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to be
Yeah. Yeah.
countered, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you are Real Madrid, you always need to be a counter attack, because every single team is gonna defend on you. But
Mm-hmm.
the teams that attack on you, like your Manchester City or your Barcelona, those kind of games, you are equal, because they
Yeah.
used to be. They also are used to be playing apart the box. So
Mm.
for Xavi, you knew that when you used to be a Real Madrid player, you know that every single team is gonna be on their in their goal line.
Mhm.
So what is your strategy? That's the only
Yeah.
thing that I still say that's exclusively on Xabi Alonso, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you proposing? If
Yeah.
the players don't listen to you, that's a problem. But if
Mm.
you're not proposing well enough, that's the reason that it cannot translate on the team, right? They're motivated, they're well trained, right? What is your tactics? Your
Mm.
tactic, not them, yours.
100%. I mean, one way to actually kill a low block is the Kylian Mbappe finish. 70 goals with Real Madrid already. The fastest player since Cristiano to get to that record. 12 official man of the matches in 22 games played this season. Um,
Today is
Sahil,
Vini.
Mbappe,
Sorry to La Liga. Today was Vini. It
Vinny,
wasn't
yeah, for you?
Mbappe. Yeah, yeah, for
I
sure.
wouldn't give it to Vinny. Maybe Jude Bellingham.
Probably,
But yeah.
probably so. One or
Mm,
two, but
yeah.
certainly not Kylian.
But talk to me, Sahil. We have been missing Mbappe in action for the last couple of games, and there have been big stretches towards especially towards the end of November, beginning of December, where it almost felt like without Mbappe we can't really find another outlet, and he came in clutch, giving us the lead so early on.
Yeah, I think this version of Mbappe and what he has become in this phase of his career is certainly in a different sense to the kind of player that Vinny is, and Mbappe is more now in this new role that he has taken at Real Madrid. He is more cold blooded, and in that sense, the lack of continuity, but for better words, for lack of better words, doesn't affect his form or his mindset one bit, because
Yeah.
he comes out and uh, plays that out of his game with the same kind of intensity and with the same kind of, like, we can clearly see that he's a few strides behind his usual pace.
Mhm.
But it's still enough to beat three out of every four defenders in La Liga, and I think that for me speaks volumes about the kind of levels that he has hit this season, both with his game sense and his sharpness, his fitness, and obviously with how clinical he has been. Like, I'm sure in the first half you'll have noticed there was a piece of play where Mbappe goes through on goal, and then he puts a shot through with his weak foot, and the keeper saves it, and then the rebound falls to
Balls
Vinny,
to
and
Vinny.
Vinny puts in a very, very tame, casual shot, and that for me, stood out and just portrayed how different both of their
Mm.
mentalities right now are. Vinny,
Yeah.
regardless, and this is the third time I'm mentioning it. Vinny is very in a very casual state of mind, and Mbappe is more in a in a killer state of mind where he's ruthless and he wants to win every ball and he wants to get on the end of, maybe a little bit over eager,
Yeah.
in a sense that he gets caught offside, sometimes, and he doesn't actually end up in a position which is, um, in the box sometimes, and that's something that you can ask of him, even if he's going to give you 40-45 goals this season.
Mm.
But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you have to, stop and respect and highlight just um, how his mindset has shifted since he has started, seem at home in this position. Um, and if we keep going in this space, I'm sure we are looking at another golden boot, because right now he's tied, I think, at 17 goals with Harry Kane for the highest goals in Europe's top five leagues this season.
But yeah, you guys need to
Go on,
understand
Evan.
that the players play for them as well as their team, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So um, Beanie,
Do you think
and I
he's the
freaking
right fit
love
for
that.
us? Do you think we are going to win a lot of trophies purely with Mbappe starting down the middle? I know it's a bit dynamic, but Mbappe is the primary center forward we have.
Yeah, and if you ask me, I saw a lot of similarities between, I hope we saw that between this Mbappe and I don't know what season, probably this one, uh, 11, 12, that
Mhm.
change in
Yeah.
Cristiano. right?
Yeah.
Because Cristiano was already a Ballon d'Or and whatnot, but what makes Cristiano the the big legend in Real Madrid started at this season, like, and they're probably around the same age. So if you ask, I'm not worried about Mbappe and his legacy because once again, there's I saw nothing to be worried about in this moment. But if you ask me, I want to go back to Vini once more. He was absolutely robbed on the Ballon d'Or, but he told us like the next day, I'll be back 10 times stronger. So you need to do that, and in order to do that, sorry, they rob you, right? They rob
Hmm.
you a penalty tonight, right? But you need to overcome, and you need to play the fucking game and win every single game. So that winner mentality, they cannot be, either you have it or you're not. You can be a great player, like
Yeah.
great, great, great. But if you want to achieve the greatness beyond that, the status of legend, of Real Madrid legend,
Yeah.
you need to do that consistently every single day for so many years. And I don't know if he has it in him.
Yeah.
I want to believe.
Yeah, Javier, you put it perfectly, and I think I see a little bit of that mentality in Kylian Mbappe. I see a lot of it in Jude Bellingham. Uh, right now with Vinicius Junior, even with glimpses of brilliance, I don't see it on a consistent basis.
Yeah, we've discussed Mbappe and Winnie for far too long. One thing I want to bring up, Sahil, I want to ask you, right? Raul Asensio, yes, he's not going to be the starting centre back when our guys are fit enough. But we all know the situation with defenders, right? They just happen to catch the flu at the worst times. They're just always injured. So it's more likely Raul Asensio will be, playing for us way more often than we would like, and we all can accept his shortcomings. Maybe last season when it was dire circumstances and we needed an injection of something new, something fresh, we could get away with fielding Raul Asensio and we could overlook some of his flaws. But the more he plays, for me, he just looks absolutely horrific on the ball. It gets to a point where he's constantly in arguments with so many players because they question him. Why are you putting me in? Why are you actually giving me hospital passes after hospital passes? Putting me in a place of bother where I can't get out. The only way for me to get out is boot the ball. One example was Fede actually losing his mind with the sort of passes Raul Asensio was giving him. When when do you get to a point of concern where like, yes, for all his tenacity, his aggressiveness, his eagerness to close down danger and whatnot, giving the ball to Raul Asensio in possession, even if the opposition isn't necessarily pressing us, is a bad idea. Like, when do we get to that point where he's not clearly good enough for this shirt? After tonight, for me, he's just not it. I don't think you can magically develop your ability on the ball when you're 22.
Yeah, I think the point where it starts to get concerning is when players like Arda Güler and Chouameni have to cover a distance of 30-35 yards and actually drop between the centre backs to collect the ball on a goal kick, and Courtois has to play it short to them instead of trusting Raul Asensio or Rudiger, because you have to remember that Rudiger also can sometimes be unreliable with the ball at his feet. So I
Yeah.
think we saw that. We saw that a couple of times today where Arda Güler was the man who was on the edge of our own penalty area, and I mean less so because Arda Güler played a deeper defensive, not a defensive, just a deeper midfield role today.
Mhm.
But Raul Asensio, man, like we have seen his erratic nature being highlighted. Most. Uh, I think it was the Club World Cup game. Yeah, 4-0 against Paris Saint-Germain, and that was the game where it all fell apart for Real Asensio, and we said the same. We thought we would never trust this guy again, but the harsh reality
He was
is,
sent off, right, against Dortmund as well.
No,
I'm not sure of that, but
Oh no, it
he
was
he
Hausen
was
who was sent off, but he considered a
was
pen, I
Hudson.
think. No, it was Hausen. But
It was
I do
Hudson.
remember
he
Asensio
considered a
making
pen
a
against
crucial
Liverpool.
mistake.
Asensio made the huge
Liverpool.
mistake against PSG. No.
It was against
Against
PSG, yeah? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
The
it was
first
against
mistake
PSG,
was
yeah.
Rudiger. The same two center backs, right? The first
Yeah.
Oh,
mistake
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
Rudiger,
Yeah.
and the second, like 2
They are not a good
minutes
combination.
later.
Mm,
Yeah. And it's not as
But
if
once again,
Asensio
that,
is
sorry, bro.
only
That's probably the last time they played together, right?
before today.
Yeah, and then
yeah.
they both, like, okay, they are not currently our two main center backs.
They
They
played against
know that.
City, but, it's, 2 games isn't enough to build chemistry. I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Mm.
So if you ask me, Raul Asensio played a very solid game. I know that what you expect, the next Maldini, he's clearly not, right?
Mm.
He's
Mm.
clearly not the next Maldini
But
or the
in the
next Sergio
system, that's
Ramos,
what I'm
or you're
concerned
not.
about, where we are
But
supposed to be so,
no,
adept in
I'm not
possession.
worried. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
worried because if you ask me, he was probably the fourth or fifth center back in at the beginning of the season. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
if your fourth, maybe fifth center back delivers in terms of this game, he
Yeah.
don't he didn't make the mistake that leads to the goal, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think it's more than Rudiger that um, a, a player that we need to talk about because he was not influential at all at the game is Valdepeñas.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
Valdepeñas threw the line correctly and was Rudiger the one that made the mistake.
Mm.
And was Rudiger
And Xabi
supposed to be
actually
the
says
one
it was
that called?
Valdepeñas' mistake in the presser, which I
I don't
don't
think so.
understand.
I
Yeah.
don't think so. But any means
Because
because
both of them, in my opinion, should track the runner. It's as simple as that,
no, the center back. If you ever play football, right? The
Mm.
center back is one of the main leaders. If Rudiger is the main leader in this defense, and he is,
Mm-hmm.
he
Mm-hmm.
needs to be like shut out and ask Valdepeñas when to throw the line. If he doesn't say to the kid
Yeah.
wouldn't know. He was
Oh, yeah, for
his
sure.
Real Madrid debut.
Mm.
So
Mm.
if you ask me, even if the mistake, and I'm not saying that, I still believe that is Rudiger's fault. It was
Mm-hmm.
Rudiger's fault because he didn't say to Valdepeñas when to move, right? So for me, it was Rudiger's mistake, but even so, like, it was a dumb mistake, a great reception, and a great goal. That kind of goal from Alaves came like 2 times in a season, maybe. It's not a like I said, it's a mistake, but it's that kind of mistake that is more in terms of what a great goal from Alaves than a huge mistake from us.
Mm-hmm.
I'd still say it was a pretty big mistake, but agree to disagree on
It's
that.
it's frustrating when it's just one ball, one long ball in, and I mean,
It was a lapse
yeah.
of judgment and error on Rudiger's
Mm.
part, but also going back to Asensio, we have to keep in mind that he's one, not our only erratic centre back. We have Militao, we have Rudiger, who's now
Hausen,
in his
yeah.
his late 30s. Hausen is not perfect. He is perhaps um, the most favorable of all options in terms of being complete, but he's also not
Mm-hmm.
you know doesn't like to get his hands dirty, and we've seen that before,
Did
right?
you see the switch that he gave to Brahim?
Yeah.
Holy
Mm.
shit, that was insane. Yeah.
So there are things that all of these guys are comparable, and in
Mm.
some aspects not at all at. And my problem with Raul Asensio is, again, we see the best of Raul Asensio when the game is very chaotic, right? When he is
Yeah.
literally at the end, he's literally in everyone's face. But also when nothing is going on, I feel like he has to just shut up and be part of the game and not try to do anything exceptional. He tries too often to get involved in every piece of play and get in everybody's face for no
Mm.
reason whatsoever. Like
That's why he's
nothing.
such a terrible wing back. Him at right back
So
is just
it
Yeah.
doesn't work. And
But it's
like if nothing is going on, that's my issue with Raul Asensio. So again, his ability on the ball, I'm sure. I don't know if you agree on that, Sunit, but it can be worked on.
Mhm.
He's still young and he's got a lot to prove. Whatever else
but
he has
to a center
positional
point,
issues,
right?
he
To a
has
center
positional
point. If you
issues.
ask me, we can say the same about Thibaut Courtois, right?
Yeah,
Thibaut Courtois is
exactly.
one
Thibaut
of the worst
is shit on the
goalkeepers
ball,
with,
man.
but
Yep.
but he's the best goalkeeper in the fucking world. So you don't care whenever he touches the ball, sends it to the million miles away, right? Because you need the goalkeeper to stop goals. You need a defender that defends. I get it that okay, you need
But
to
it's
draw
not
with
the
the ball. That's
70s,
not
And
Javier.
Asensio is
right.
not the best in the world.
But Raúl Asensio,
He's only
sorry, is not
favorable in
gonna be
this.
the next
He's not
huge thing.
Javier. He's only favorable in this context because he is the defender that remains fit
Right.
most of the time.
But then again, I ask you guys if you remember the first and the whole career of Nacho is exactly like that, right?
Exactly.
He was never the main man, but he keep working and keep working and keep working and keep putting him in position that okay, I know that your last option, but I'm gonna deliver. I'm not great at anything, but I'm gonna deliver. So if you ask me, that's the kind of player that I want from Raúl Asensio, right? He's not gonna be the next Sergio Ramos. He's not gonna be the next Varane, or even the same level as Militao, or the potential at Dean. I don't fucking care. I need him to be
Nacho is
a
a
Real
bad
Madrid
comparison,
player.
but yeah, I'll
I,
let you
I, I
have this.
Nacho didn't get in everyone's faces, Javier.
No, it's not about that. Nacho was incredibly two-footed. He was
Consistent. Yeah, he
incredibly.
was a complete defender.
I think
He
you
could play
don't
wing
guys
back with so
understand.
much ease.
Remember the first seasons, plural of Nacho.
Oh
My
yeah, he
God,
wasn't involved much. Yeah.
so give that like Marin said, give him the chance. Give Raúl
Mhm.
Asensio a chance to develop. I think he can improve. I agree with that, but I will never put him in the thing. Oh, he's gonna be the center of the on the center back. You know, the star of the center back. He's never gonna be
Yeah.
that, and I don't care. We don't need that. You
Yeah.
don't need, like 15, 17, 20 stars.
Mm.
You need like probably five, and then very good, solid, like world class players. But the stars, the stars of Real Madrid, they need to be like three
Yeah.
of them, and
Mm.
all of them need to understand, right?
Yeah.
Tchouaméni
Yeah.
seems to
Yeah.
understand that he's never the player of the game, and he's one of the best players of the season.
Absolutely.
So who cares? Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, Juan Martinez as well. From the Fabrica. Hopefully, he gets some minutes. I was hoping today would be the day, but unfortunately, it wasn't the case. But
I
throughout the
just hope
season.
we stop signing injury-prone centre backs. So we have to normalize, um, you know,
Oh yeah, for
giving
sure.
credit to Raul Asensio for staying fit. Like I get that it's commendable, but if we keep signing guys who are just available on a free now, again, I've seen that we have I think we're close to agreeing terms or something with Dayot Upamecano, who's again a very
Oh my
injury prone,
God.
very
I
Yeah.
very
will
injury
love
prone
that to,
defender.
to, to, to be dropped over the shit. Once again, I have a favorite, but Slotterbeck in Real Madrid would be a great addition.
Oh yeah.
It,
Schlotterbeck is pretty
I,
good.
I,
How
I,
old is
I
Schlotterbeck?
haven't,
26? 27?
I have no idea, but
Mm.
I've been watching. I support Dortmund, so
Oh
I've
yeah,
been
yeah.
watching him for a couple of years, and he's a very very good, very good. I think it's better than Upamecano and whatnot in this, in this current form.
Yeah.
So he's
Schlotterbeck is
probably
only
our
26.
best
Yeah.
option. He's probably our best option if you ask me. If you want to
Mm.
improve, but then again, it's for Alaba, right? Because Alaba, I'm sorry, my guy, it's over for your career in terms of injuries.
Mm.
You cannot be longer. And I'm worried about Militao because when he's fit, he's the best in the world. But I
But he
don't know
can't
what
stay
happened
fit.
to
Yeah.
him
Yeah. Unfortunately, he just can't stay
because we
fit.
burned him to the ground, you know,
Mm. Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
don't have options.
There was a
And we
point
need
it
that.
was Militao as the only guy who used to, stay fit. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I mean, what can we say? We're just cast in that position. Quickly to wrap things up, bit by bit, let me get into a few of the comments. Ashik was mentioning, Vinny played 89 minutes. Yes, he had an assist from a great run. The match is 90 minutes, not a few seconds. What did he do the whole game? Rodrigo scored, but anonymous the whole whole game. At least Rodrigo presses. No, I see where Ashik is coming from. The standards should be much higher. We are just being happy that they have kind of broken their duck. Kind of gotten out of their little dry spell. But at the same time, the standards we have seen over the years. That's what bothers me. Like when I see people on social media, asking me not to be reactionary. Back this team. Man, I've grown up with sides that has done the business and consistently. So for me, the standards are much, much higher than many of the guys who probably would have started supporting in 2022. When we were in Carlos' second stint, you can compare that to this. They would be like, oh yeah, the difference in results is a bit crazy, but in terms of performance, it wouldn't be that different. But for me, I grew up during the Mourinho era, where Barcelona were at their prime, where we fought for every fucking half decision, every fucking 50-50. So for me, it's a bit different. Go on, Javier.
No, that's what I love to be a Real Madrid fan. Like the comments are truly right. Okay, we all can all agree. We saw glimpses, and we didn't have to be conformed with this team performance. I agree with them. We won this game. I'm happy. No one is injured. I'm happier. Great assist, whatnot. Happy. Tomorrow, we need to focus on next game, right? And that's the Real Madrid mentality. Tomorrow, this game, like I said earlier, this game would only matter if we won the next one. And 100%. then some. That's the Real Madrid mentality. And I love that our fans of the podcast, because our Real Madrid fans agree on that. We're not comfortable. Like I said, we didn't win anything. Today is the 14th, I think, here in Mexico of December. I think La Liga is the last game is probably on May or June. So we can all agree that this don't matter if we won't win La Liga. And then again, I agree. We need to be better, to be more confident, to be like the whole 90 minutes to be dominant. But to be dominant and to be scoreless, sorry guys, it won't happen. That's not the Real Madrid mentality. You need to win, no matter how, no matter what, no matter you need to win every single game. Because if you win every single game, no matter what, you're gonna win the title. That's the Real Madrid difference between everyone else and us. Okay, we can all agree that the result is good. Very good. We need to improve. Other teams, like, even when they win, like, oh, we didn't play good, blah, 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 blah. The tiki-taka teams and whatnot. I don't care. We can play some tiki-taka. We can play, like, counter-attack. I don't fucking care if we won a game with a diving penalty every once in a while. I don't care. We need to win every single game. So I don't know which game is next. I probably think it's Sevilla.
There's Talavera in midweek.
Copa del Rey game, yes.
When?
Wednesday.
Okay, so they need to fucking demolish that team, right?
I don't know, man. Looking at how it is, probably Xabi Alonso is going to be dependent on all these main players. Maybe apart from Mbappe, Gonzalo might get the start. I hope he gets the start, but we don't have much depth.
He's going to start Endrick, Mastantuono, Lunin. I would probably agree on that. Sorry, every single one of those 23 will probably win in a day what the other team wins in a fucking year. So they need to demolish that team in Copa del Rey. And I don't need to destroy, like, in terms of 8, 10 goals. We don't need that. We need to be 90 minutes safe of every single, like, scare or worry about tactics and team development. We need a game that solidifies the idea of this project, because once again, the next game is the most important game in Xabi Alonso's project. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Like,
we need.
I don't know the statistics. It was 21 games No, sorry, 25 games and we won 21 and lose 3 or 4. That's the statistics. I don't remember if we ever draw this season.
Oh, we
I
have
can't.
drawn two on a
We have
draw.
drawn 3 games, right? I think three. Was it three? I can't remember, but we have had some shit results. We only lost
Yeah.
two. But yeah, we have
We've
had
drawn
some.
three, yes.
We lost
Three
three:
in the league
Liverpool, Atletico, and City.
Oh yeah, yeah, three.
and Celta.
And Celta. So 4.
So four. Okay. Well, I'm not used to this shit. Losing 4 games by December, not really used to it. But yeah, Ash was mentioning, we are still relying on Mbappe. A team can't sustain success depending on one guy. Other was invisible, and Jude was a warrior today. Yeah, I have to really pick up Jude, man. I've been giving him some stick over the last couple of weeks, but today he was really doing the
Yes.
two-man job. Having Jude Bellingham was on the pitches, basically having two players. Um, his incredible work rate is, I think, the only way all these guys can click. Like I said, probably towards the beginning of the pod, Jude Bellingham is so crucial. What he does is often overlooked right now because he isn't the guy grabbing the headlines anymore. Um, but
That's what a
yeah,
luxury player embodies truly. Like none of what we
mm,
need, even Mbappe for that matter, he doesn't, even when he's on song, he doesn't put
mm,
in out much outside of what he's expected to. So if you expected to be a player that your manager can rely on and go out and say that this player is a luxury to have, then you have to uh, be as committed as Jude Bellingham is. I think that's the example that he sets in this dressing room.
100%. He's a proper leader. He's a proper leader. He just needs to. I guess it'll come with age. At times we tend to forget these guys are young boys.
Yeah.
It's it's a bit crazy because they have been around for forever. We think they're already mature. I was I knew it was the case, but the commentator saying that Rodrigo won't be 25 until January kind of caught me by surprise because it's almost what, like, 6 years
6, 7
with
seasons.
Madrid.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6, 7 seasons. So
It was 2018, 2019 because it was the first season of Vini and Rodrigo. I
2018,
remember
2019
because.
was Vini's first season. 2019-20 was Rodrigo's first season, if I remember.
Are you sure? I'm
1920.
not sure because
Yeah,
I
we
I,
signed
I seem
Rodrigo
to
and we let
recall.
him be on loan at his parent club.
because
2019-20 because Rodrigo came and we won the league. The Golden Stripes.
We waited for him
Yeah,
to turn 20, so turn 18, correction. And then he came
right.
and scored that hat trick in the Champions League, I think, against
Yes,
Galatasaray.
Galatasaray. Yeah. Okay.
And he was supposed to be like the next, like now would be Franco, right? Position, a right wing, young South American. Once again, it's just context, like I truly hope Rodrigo can recover. I truly hope that we can recover Rodrigo because if you ask me and or probably any fan, Sinead, probably
Mhm.
yourself and
Yeah.
all of our panel, I don't think I scream a goal more important in I don't know if my history of Real Madrid because
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember when I watched La Decima and whatnot and
La
Gareth Bale.
Decima, I
So
think, is the most important, but yeah.
right, but second to in terms of oh my god, what I just saw is the
Mhm.
second goal of Rodrigo against Man City, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, Rodrigo cannot be a legend just for that.
Mm.
And I think he's in a position to recover himself. I don't know if he has the time because once again, he's like next year is out of contract, so he has 6 months, maybe less, than turn this thing around. And
Yeah.
I think he's a great player. I truly believe so.
Mm.
He's not the leader of Real Madrid. He's obviously not the leader of Real Madrid, but he's probably a very solid player. Like if you want to compare him to Gareth Bale, well, Gareth Bale was a legend. So I hope he can overcome this. I hope that this game will change Rodrigo's
Yeah.
perspective. and other players, like not only him, but a few players.
When Rodrigo moves on, if he does move on, I really hope that day doesn't come. But there were so many points where I question, why do we actually keep a guy around who can't contribute much? But him dealing with some personal issues and his interior turmoil and all that, I hope he can finally shrug it off. Then again, people, I can see people moaning about his reputation for scoring from December to January for a bit of a bubble patch over 10 games and then completely vanishing. I just hope that isn't the case. I hope, he regains back his form so that we offer him a new contract and whatnot, because Rodrigo is a star player, right? He's going to start for any top side in the world, okay? Or be at
He's
least
Rodrigo.
yeah.
These past two games, Rodrigo, because the last
Yeah.
year and a half, Rodrigo wouldn't start in almost any team.
Oh yeah. But
That's
Rodrigo at his
reason.
best, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
But Rodrigo
and
at his best should be a Real Madrid player. And
oh yeah,
once
100%.
again,
He's a Madridista, that's one of the reasons why he has, stayed here for so long, being
and
the
it still
the
depends
12th
on
man.
him, Sonek.
Mm-hmm.
It still depends on him. That's the thing he needs to realize. It still
Yeah.
depends on him.
Yeah.
So I can only hope, because if Rodrigo is connected, my God. And then Bini,
Yeah. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are fried. And like you said, I love you. So if you are one of those four guys, okay, you are the star, be the fucking star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Mm. Also, like I would like to again point this out. So many top players. I know Rodrigo is a bit too honest about himself, and he is, he's that kind of a personality. I love him so much because of this exact thing. So many other players, when they reach a certain ceiling or when they think that they have done quite a bit to warrant a starting berth every single week, they would definitely make a lot more noise. They would definitely create a lot more problems in the dressing room and in the media if they're not constantly having to start. Rodrigo knows that he is not as good as probably Vinicius and Mbappe when they're in their peak form, right? So he's okay to be among the supporting cast. I think that is a truly underrated,
Great, yeah.
trait, underrated, type of character, because not many players would actually be willing to do that role. And Rodrigo, for me, is that guy. If he can regain some of his form back, and if he continues to build on it, he can be so influential. If not always starting, at least from the bench. Because we need a game changer from the bench badly. But yeah, Ashik was mentioning Valdepeñas had a nervy first half, but in the second half showed some promise. There is something that we may be able to work with. Hope he gets minutes against smaller sides to develop and gain confidence. I was fairly impressed with Valdepeñas. He is supposedly one of the most athletic, youth products we have in Fabrica. Defensively, yes, he did seem okay, but the moment, a guy who could actually threaten him in behind and could take him on, Carlos Vicente came on, it looked like, he struggled a bit. Maybe it kind of caught him by surprise, because for the majority of the first 60 minutes, there was barely any sort of threat down the side from Alaves. So it's early days, it's humongous pressure. He's basically living out his dream. So I feel for the kid, especially along with
And he will
Rudiger.
start, right? The
Mhm.
next game. Do you agree with? He should start
Um,
the next game?
because Fran
Because
Garcia is back, right?
Fran is back, I think, because he was sent off.
Will
I don't
Xabi
know
Alonso
if
keep for while they? I don't
I
know.
don't know if
I don't know.
they, because I think Fran was suspended for 2 games. I seem the recollection of
One
him,
game, one
like
game, one game.
he
Fran
was
Garcia
one
is
game.
just single game. Yeah.
Well, I still put Valdepeñas in Copa, if you ask me.
Oh, for Copa, yeah, for Copa, definitely. Oh yeah, I was thinking the league. My bad, my bad. You're right. Probably Valdepeñas again. At left back. I think it's yeah. I think it's great for the kid, but
Yeah.
yeah, he needs time for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, Ashik was saying, overall rubbish performance, but just a reminder that Barcelona lost to this, shitty Madrid team. Just for the record, facts are facts. Um, Yeah, he was also mentioning, today's man of the match was Jude, hands down, and Rudiger is another one who looks like he wants Xabi fired. Yeah, Rudiger completely looks like he's, struggling to regain his rhythm, his confidence. It's expected. He's been out for a bit. Um, but yeah, Ashik was mentioning grew up as a part of the Leo Bean Hacker era. And you know what era was that?
I
Was it
know.
was it
It's
was it
Leo
90s,
Ben
late
Hacker.
90s,
I
mid
think
90s?
it's right before, like the the space between, like La Quinta and then, like La La Quinta del Buitre and then La Séptima Copa of Champions League, right? It's like
Okay. So mid to early
way,
90s.
yeah, 94, 95,
Mm,
that period. That,
mhm,
like moving past like two of the greatest moments in Real Madrid history. And Levin Herter was
mhm.
a very solid. I think that one of our audience, maybe in his 40s or 50s, I think, because
Oh yeah, Ashik is
it's,
40, early 40s.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, bigger people in the chat, bigger people who are going to be tuning in later on as well. Yeah, much needed 3 points. I think we have done fairly decent to actually turn it around for just this weekend and give us some some much needed calm. Sahil, any final thoughts?
No, I'm just glad we got to sit here and actually chat about the game for well over an hour and a half now. It's it's good to be talking about a victory. I don't care how it comes. I'm just delighted that we have good things to talk about. We have some solid performances to talk about, and some of them being Jude Bellingham again, Courtois with the save of his face. I know he didn't have much else to do, but as Kafir says, we just have to keep building on this, and the next few games will decide how much this victory really means. Um, and the Talaveras, game couldn't come at a better time because
Oh yeah.
a lot of our players are out injured, and I just hope we get through it. I know we will win likely. I just hope we get through it without any like major injury issues as such, and then finish out the year at Sevilla. Well, it's a home game against Sevilla, I believe.
Yeah. Javier, any final thoughts?
Xabi Alonso and this current team get themselves an extra life, so they need to use it, and they need to use that extra life until the health of Real Madrid is full charge in terms of a single game doesn't feel that this transcendent, right?
Mhm.
So we we pat ourselves on our back long enough, a good victory, but like I said earlier, on to the next game, and they need to win.
100%, 100%. Perfectly put. An extra life, an extra week of, a bit of respite for Xabi Alonso. But yeah, Copa del Rey is important. I think it's our best shot at the trophy. Although we will have to go through a Atleti or Barcelona or even Bilbao to actually get to that. But yeah, it begins on Wednesday against away at Talavera. Hopefully we get the job done. But yeah, boys, until next time. Hala Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Already.
Okay, that was that.